the Word of God. Now, the other thing that, I'm sort of weird, I know, but the lake of Gennesareth, I think is how you pronounce it. And I said, the lake where? You know? But that area, that body of water was called several things. Again, my inquisitiveness, we know it, or most of us know it as the Sea of Galilee. Well, we have this body of water. Now, is it a sea or lake? That's just how my mind works. You know, I want to know, why is it called a lake here, and then other times it's called the sea? And you know, when we're reading our Bibles, that's what we should be doing, really. I mean, we shouldn't just be reading it to read it. We need to get into it and study it. And if you don't know something, you need to be looking up and maybe try and get some more information on it. Well, as a bee, the lake has several names. It might have been named 3 or 4 different names during the course of time. But the difference between sea and lake is a lake can be a sea because some lakes are salt water. The seas are salt water. Usually the lakes are fresh water, but they can be both. The lakes can. And that has nothing to do with my sermon, really, but it's just some background into this that I found interesting. I just wanted to pass that along to you. Now, the other thing that really caught my mind is in verse 3. It should be here somewhere. And it said, and he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. Now, just think about a ship and sitting down or standing up, you would think, well, yeah, that's the normal thing. You would sit down. But I mean, this fishing vessel was not just a little tiny rowboat. So if he stood up, I'm sure it wouldn't be rocking or anything, or at least that's what I presume. So again, I did my research. I want to know what about this sat down. And it comes to what information that I got is back during this time, the scrolls that they had was very expensive to make. And a lot of people didn't have a lot of them, or maybe one place might just have one of them instead of, you know, a multitude of them. And so this word that they have, these scrolls or whatever they had, was very important, sort of like sacred to them. So what they would do is, and what's the word I want? In the Church of God, what's the building's name? Synagogues. Where they was preaching, they would stand up to read the word. So when they got done reading the word, they sat back down. So people knew that once they sat down, they weren't reading the word anymore. It was man talking versus what God was saying to them. And so that's something that Jesus did. He sat down. I'm sure he didn't sit down all the time, but when he could, he sat down and taught. That was the normal thing for the man of God to do back in that time. Now I'm getting there, but it's going to take me a minute. The other thing that really, no, I want to stay where you were. We're the fishermen. And I want to just give you this background just because of how everything went in the rest of the scripture. First of all, your fisherman was a professional person. So he knew all the angles. He knew when he should go out. He knows where he should be at. He knows what kind of bait to use, what kind of nets he should be throwing. Whatever it was, he was a professional. Simon, who we're mainly talking about here, was a professional fisherman. He knew a lot. And it's sort of like, you take myself, I'm not a fisherman. There might be some of you out there that might take a rod and throw it in the water or something and hope that you catch something, but you're not into it either. And then you have a pretty good fisherman. If my son was here, he's a pretty good fisherman. He goes out all the time. He likes fishing, and he knows a lot more than what I do. Like I said, I know basically nothing about fishing. And then you have your professional, which Simon, who we're talking about here, was a professional fisherman. And just so you can understand what I'm saying, I'll put in another term. We have people who are lost and who are not saved. They're at the bottom. We got people when they first saved know a little bit about God, but they don't know a lot about God. And then third, we got people who are serving God and knows quite a bit. And then we got Pastor Tim, who knows everything. Or it seems that way to me anyway. So that's what we got with Simon, though. We got a professional fisherman there. So now we are getting to the points that I really want to make in this. So if we go to our next scripture.